Okay, sorry about that. I did notice that. I was like, oh yeah, I should probably check on that. Sorry about that. Um, okay. He was never meant to survive. But as mentioned before I noticed that my audio wasn't working because I was doing a lot of crap earlier with the editing from the other video. I'm gonna start this. I'm not gonna be streaming that long because it's like 100 degrees outside and that heat is getting in here right now. So I'll start this and carry on with this tomorrow. Okay. I'm just writing what comes to mind right now. I'm obviously gonna change this layer. Okay. As usual, don't drink unless you're an adult. Um, I like it. Let's see your purpose. No, before we get to that, we can add a filler sentence here. There we go. We definitely needed a filler sentence there. Okay. To be honest, the way that household is right now, I don't know how the hell it functions. Holy crap. Living with Kohaku shenanigans every single day just seems like such a pain in the ass. Okay, hold on. There we go. had to be kind of I had to be specific with the time period real quick, because if it's now, again, it's literally just Akia, the maids, and Tohno. But in the past, obviously, there was more people living there. Just doing a little build up here. All right, we can bring him up. So Tohno again was. Oh yeah, for the purpose of this video, just because there's literally 3 different Shikis we're gonna be talking about. Glasses, we're gonna call him Tohno, like we do in the Melty book community. Nanaya is gonna be Nanaya, and Shiki, I mean, all caps Shiki, but I'm not really gonna be talking about him that much. This is not. It's not gonna be as annoying as Ryogi's. Ryogi's was definitely annoying. Okay. We don't need that's supposed to be of, but mock. Where's it gonna tell? This is of course it's that's but mock. All right, let me read this and see how it sounds. He was never meant to survive, let alone belong. Shiki Tohno walks through a life that was never his, in a body scarred by death, beneath a name that mocks him with every breath he takes. He is the living rejection of blood, legacy, and purpose. And somewhere deep inside of him, something that is somewhere deep inside of him. Somewhere deep inside. I don't want to add of him. I'll probably have to add it because I'm gonna be saying of unintentionally. Is somewhere deep inside him, of him, fuck it. Of it is somewhere deep inside of him, something that remembers how to kill. In the past, there was no peace. There was no peace, past tense. There was no peace within the Tohno household, only silence. A silence that echoes through the hallways and empty smiles. Child adopted not out of mercy, but mockery. Okay, I like that. Okay. I think that's fine. I can only imagine how was his life after he got adopted. We got it specific here. In the end, he ends up getting the biggest fuck you imaginable. But for streaming purposes, I won't say it. me a second. All right. We'll allude to him. We won't mention him yet. Whoops. Again, we're just gonna get this started. We're not gonna go like that deep into it because it's again like 100 degrees right now, and I'm not trying to die. It's already like hot as fuck in here. I'm saying this, but it is gonna end up being the story of duality. Um, built on fracture. Built on fracture. Built on fracture. Memory. Identity. So good. Okay. It's gonna be putting a smile on my face because I'm gonna be using footage from Acadenta. Oh, Acadenta, such a good game. Busted, but such a good game. Give me a moment. Okay. So, we're gonna be using a quote from Peter Schaefer that I think fits pretty good. And We can go into detail, probably. Where? Ooh, person should be. Okay, I like the way that sounds. All right, so the quote by Peter Schaefer is gonna be, "It is not madness; it is truth seen too soon." I'll explain that in a second. Let me just make sure I write it down. It is not madness. I usually have quotes written down in advance when I do before I start script writing. I'll finish up the outline and do my own extensive research on quotes. I love using quotes. It is truth. It is truth seen too soon. Okay, this is by Peter Schaefer. Peter Schaefer. So, which it might simply be clarity. Might simply be clarity. Notes ago, a glimpse of reality. Glimpse of reality before the mind can cope. Before the mind can cope. Out of all the MCs in the Type Moon, well, the Nasuverse, him, Shion, Arquay definitely have psychological issues, big time, especially him. Shion is just on borrowed time. Like, oh, poor Shion. Again, unless you're an adult, please don't drink. It's a bad habit. Okay, how long have I been shooting this for? 20 minutes. Okay, I'll go on until like 45 minutes. We got about 25 minutes left. Because again, it's way too hot right now to be streaming. Oh, definitely way too hot. 105. Holy shit. Okay. Shiki Tohno. Shiki Tohno lives with the truth. Like that. Like that. And if you've read the visual novel, you'll know what I'm getting at. His thoughts are his. Their headphones. Someone else's mistakes. Someone else's mistakes. Shout outs to Arquay. She was so salty. Tragedy that snaps. It's rather he understands after a lot of that what he's done pretty much. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I'll have to reread this again. Definitely have to reread this. Definitely have to reread this. He was never meant to survive, sorry, let alone belong. Shiki Tohno walks through a life that was never his, in a body scarred by death, beneath a name that mocks him with every breath he takes. He is the living rejection of blood, legacy, and purpose, and somewhere deep inside of him, something that remembers how to kill. In the past, there was no peace within the Tohno household, only silence. A silence that echoes through the hallways and empty smiles. A child adopted not out of mercy, but mockery, raised among people who looked at him and saw a walking contradiction, a boy who shares the same name as their true heir, a boy whose worth was defined by what he wasn't. The boy stood on death's door numerous times and yet survived, whether it was surviving the extermination of his clan or his faithful encounter with the heir of the Tohno family. This is not simply a story of duality. It's not the trope of a dark side or a hidden killer. This is a narrative built on fracture, of memory, of identity, of selfhood. And to understand it, we have to strip back every layer until we see the raw wound where a person should be. It is not madness, it is a truth seen too soon. Peter Schaefer. What Schaefer suggests is terrifying, that what we call insanity might be clarity, a glimpse of reality before the mind can cope. Shiki Tohno lives with a truth like that. He doesn't know if he's a person or a puppet, if his thoughts are his, or the echoes of someone else's instincts. The tragedy isn't that he snaps, it's that he understands. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, that's good. I might have to make a little slight adjustments here and there, but I think that's fine. I definitely think that's fine. Okay. When we talk about alternate egos, especially in Type Moon, I'm looking at you, every single alter character imaginable, especially you, Jalter. You're not speaking of fantasy. And again, it should be noted, Nanaya is not, I repeat, not an alternative character. He is not an alter. He's literally the original. He's the original persona. And in that body of our good old protagonist. Personas. We are speaking of the parts. You're speaking of the parts. Speaking of parts of us. We were never allowed to become. So in a sense, what I'm getting at is, if the Nanaya clan never got destroyed, Tohno would literally become Nanaya. The identities that break free. The identities that break free when soul is too fractured. When the soul is too fractured. The soul is too fractured to hold them back. And in Tohno's case, it's literally a blessing in disguise, because the times that Nanaya comes out, like, he saves the day. There was no way Tohno was going to survive Nero. There was no chance in hell. Okay, it's fine. Being cheeky here. And again, this is a no better than Jekyll and Hyde. Hmm. Sightless. Sightless. Maybe someone else. Someone else. And I was playing through Academia earlier. Like, and that quote, Tatsuri Nanaya was not a happy camper being woken up. He's like, bruh, I'm literally fine where I'm at right now. And y'all put me in a body? Oh, fuck no. Far more dangerous. Again, Rip Nanya, I wish we actually had you, a legitimate version of you in Type Lumina. I figured. What time is it? 30 minutes. Sorry about that. Okay, let's read this over again. He was never meant to survive, let alone belong. Shiki Tohno walks through a life that was never his, in a body scarred by death, beneath a name that mocks him with every breath he takes. He is the living rejection of blood, legacy, and purpose. And somewhere deep inside of him, something that remembers how to... I had to not speak on that. I had to build up into that sentence right there. So let me actually get rid of the ... so I'll actually know. So I'm already screwing up with that one. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's start over again. He was never meant to survive, let alone belong. Shiki Tohno walks through a life that was never his. In a body scarred by death, beneath a name that mocks him with every breath he takes. He is the living rejection of blood, legacy, and purpose. And somewhere deep inside of him, something that remembers how to kill. There we go. In the past, there was no peace within the Tohno household, only silence. A silence that echoes through the hallways and empty smiles. A child adopted not out of mercy, but mockery. Raised among people who looked at him and saw a walking contradiction. A boy who shares the name of their true heir. A boy whose worth was defined by what he wasn't. This boy stood on death's door numerous times and yet survived. Whether it was surviving the extermination of his clan or his faithful encounter with the heir of the Tohno family, this is not simply a story. This is not simply a story of duality. It is not the trope of a dark side or a hidden killer. This is a narrative built on fracture, of memory, of identity, of selfhood. And to understand it, we must strip back every layer until we see the raw wound where a person should be. This is why we read over. Where a person should be. It is not madness. It is truth seen too soon. Peter Schaefer. What Schaefer suggests is terrifying. That what we call insanity might simply be clarity, a glimpse of reality before the mind can cope. Shiki Tohno lives with a truth like that. He doesn't know if he's a person or a puppet, if his thoughts are his or the echoes of someone else's instincts. The tragedy isn't that he snaps, it's that he understands. Because when we talk about alter egos, especially in Type Moon, we are not speaking of fantasy personas. We are speaking of the parts of us we were never allowed to become. The identities that break free when the soul is too fractured to hold them back. Stay with me until the end, because to understand Shiki Tohno, Shiki Nanaya is to confront the nightmare that we might not be one person at all. That inside each of us there may be someone else waiting, someone colder, purer, and far more dangerous. If that's the case, I'm a fucking degenerate. I kid you not. Okay, Shit, it's so hot. That okay. Where do I want to go with this? Well, okay, let's just talk about what an alter ego actually is, then we'll actually start wrapping this up. I'm sweating bullets right now. So, for people that don't know, an alter ego in Latin means the other I, the other you. Jekyll and Hyde, Bruce Wayne, Batman. So in everyday language, everyday language, alter ego evokes the image of a hidden self. So again, in Nanaya's case, he's not. It's funny with Nanaya because he's not like how Fate does their alter characters. Again, because he's literally the original persona. It's just the Tohno persona was adopted after the massacre. So he's a repressed persona inside of that body right now. So he's not a corruption like at all. Like Saber into Salter or Jean into Jalter. He's not that. He's literally just a repressed persona that's being overshadowed by another persona. And there are times where he's just shown up just for shits and giggles and just goes back to being dormant. Because remember, Nanaya just, hold on. It'd be a lot easier just to hold on. No, we'll do that. We'll do that because it's too long. Because again, like I said, I was playing Accidents earlier, and he states like he's perfectly fine being, and I quote, dead. Well, who the hell pretty much brought him back inside of a body, for example? And he's like, oh, okay, but someone's gonna die. So he's perfectly fine with being dormant, but when the situation arises, he'll just show up. So pretty much when Tohno is probably gonna die, or in Arquade's case, just casually just walking around and oh shit, time to kill her. Kill. Because again, there was no way Tohno was gonna beat Nero. There was no way that was gonna happen. So again, in everyday language, alter ego invokes the image of a hidden self. So pretty much the one that's hidden behind everything. Perhaps a darker self. We'll be a little bit more specific. There we go. A darker twin. There we go. A darker twin. Secret personality. A mask. Or a mask we wear, like in Rosa Ushigamiya's case, to survive the world. Luckily, I have a friend who's a psychologist. We've discussed this plenty of times. So, and I quote, in clerical terms, it speaks of association, identity fragmentation. We mentioned that a lot. Identity fragmentation and drama, and those are definitely key things that can develop an alter ego. Okay. So we have now since we mentioned that we gotta mention how Tight Moon views this, which is Always a fun time because Tight Moon does funny stuff. But in the Nasuverse, phrase takes on a more existential. It takes on a more existential approach. Wait, takes on a far more yeah, it'll be existential, definitely existential. I totally butchered that. Existential. Wait. So how the hell am I gonna word this? I love the complexity of the Nasuverse at times. It makes you really think. Okay, we could talk about. Let's just talk about genre. Genre's easy because it ties into. I like thinking aloud, so just give me a moment. I'm thinking aloud real quick. Because in her case, her alter form, besides what the fans have done to her, just pretty much represents all the animosity and the rage she had at being betrayed and burned at the stake. Her country betrayed her, God betrayed her. So in a sense, it's a corruption of her true self, which again we can't apply to Nanaya. So in Nanaya's case, he's pretty much in a whole different category when it comes to like alternative versions of said characters. So what we can do is just we'll touch upon how alternative characters are viewed, not in the Tsukihime / Melty verse. Then we should be good. Okay, so here alter egos are not metaphors, are not mere metaphors, or disguises. So we will use her as an example again. They are manifestations. I don't butcher that. Your manifestations. Projection. Again, we'll use Jean as an example. Projection. Infernal. War. Saber's case. And self-erasure. Also Saber's case. Salter is a different. That's another can of worms. So we're not getting into that because the moment we start like going into extreme detail about stuff, we'll start going away from the damn purpose of this video. They are the truths. They are the truths people bury. Salter threw away her. She didn't toss away her ideals. She just tossed away the things that pretty much made her weak as a ruler. I'm using that very loosely here, extremely loosely here. She, in a sense, throws away her humanity. Yeah, there's definitely a lot to go into detail about, which we won't go into detail because that's not the purpose of this video. So now I have to actually talk about the distinction here. So to understand complex relationship between Tohno and, oh my god, it's so hot, Nanaya. We must first draw. We have to draw a good distinction, crucial distinction. In fate, altered characters are corrupted alternative versions, and darker, or in Salter and Jalter's case, they're missing Adhoge. Often born from parents or the machinations the Holy Grail. Alright. Again, I'm definitely using that so loosely right now. Okay, but that's a good area to end, because again, it's 100 degrees out right now, and I'm just sweating bullets. So tomorrow, when I get up, I'll finish up the Golden Sun script. Well, outline, because it's literally a rough outline. I'll finish that one up, then I'll get right back into this. So you're gonna be expecting this video to be done probably in the next 2 days. Anyways, good shit. We got started with this, and we'll touch base tomorrow. Other than that, take care.